he just kind of sacrifices his hero. Now he does have that wisp. You can actually see he does have a wisp over by Grubby's expansion, so that was a miscall saying that he should have sent one there, because there is one there, but it's not actually checking for the expansion. I don't believe the positioning is sufficient so that he can see the expo. And if you switch to Winner's point of view, indeed he can't. He doesn't know it's there. Now that keeps the wisp hidden. Grubby doesn't know that wisp is there, but if the wisp's not doing anything, who cares? So that's pretty stupid. Just in general. One of the keys to this matchup, and this is the key to any Night Elf versus Orc matchup, is the hero levels, and Grubby is winning in hero levels. And Winners doesn't even have both his heroes, so this is a fairly easy battle for him. You can see that Grubby, as soon as the battle starts, chews down a Clarity Potion, and he's just simply going to do tons of damage output, keep his units linked as best he can, and just constantly to heal them. And you can see just, Kodabe's getting healed, and that Blade Master tries to chase down those Dryads and can't quite get it. He managed to actually lose a Kodo and a Raider, but he splattered 2 to 3 Dryads. And really, that battle could have been better if he simply, positioned his army in general better. The Kodabe's was kind of towards the front, and it got kind of ripped apart, and it made things very difficult for him. You can see Winners just kind of scouting out with that wisp. Now, another thing I want to point out is Grubby has known for a long time that Winners has an expansion. Just by counting unit numbers, you can just feel, from playing the game enough, if you're against 1 base or 2 base units. And he knows he's against 2 base. And so that's why he just runs up to the expansion and starts fighting it. And now you notice he does his army split, where he sends the army to go attack, but as Blade Master, he's confident enough that he's not going to get ganked halfway across the map, because he just forced a TP, that he can run the Blade Master away, get a town portal, and then move on from there. And Winners is making a pretty big mistake in that he hasn't even repaired for, the first beginning of this. And look at that, he's just running the wisps around and not actually repairing. And this is actually going to cause him great distress, because he's actually going to lose the Tree of Life when he doesn't really need to. Because here comes the Dryads, and he has to TP right away. And what he's doing there is just microing the Demolishers. You can see he's attacking, then moving, then attacking, then moving. And if the Wisp had been repairing even like 3 seconds earlier, the Tree of Life would have survived. He already got Nature's Blessing, which is worthwhile to get. But, they would have survived if he weren't, terrible. That's just kind of unfortunate that he allowed that to happen. But whatever. Certainly it's a significant detraction from his ability to win, but, what are you going to do? So, right now Werner says, okay, well screw it, I'm going to go for an all-out kind of push. Our mains are out, your expansion, if it's up, is just barely starting to get up, so this is going to be fight time, and I'm going to do what I can here. And it's going to work fairly well for him. I'm going to see how this goes. And he brings the Wisps in as part of the, oh crap, let's go fight, because he can get rid of a lot of Spirit Link and a lot of mana off of the Shadow Hunter this way. And, there's really no mana left to get on the Shadow Hunter, and also he's already dispelled everything. There's nothing to detonate. Now he goes for the SH, and there he goes. You can see that he redispels constantly on the on that buff, and he's going to try to pass the potion, and he can't quite do it. So he picks up the Shadow Hunter, and this is going to be a really easy battle for him, or it should be, because he should be able to go in there and pick off Raiders and pick off Demolishers. And right now, if he had an Orb of Venom, he would be doing so much more damage. And I just got to keep pointing that out. If he had Tier 3, if he had Rejuve, you'd have a full hit point Keeper of the Grove. If he weren't terrible at this game, he'd be doing a lot better. So he picks off Grunts, he picks off Raiders. Uh-oh, my Keep of the Grove's getting focused. Oh no, it's getting focused. Guess what? I have a staff. I'm too stupid to cast my staff. I'm terrible at this game. I'm so bad at this game, I don't know how to staff or use an invulnerability potion. Wow, I'm so bad at this game, my name's Winners. A way to fail. And so now it's, a Blade Master. And, a frickin' Demolisher. And this is really cute right here. Winner's going to try to chop down the hero and block it off. Now, with these level of items right now, the Demon Hunter is pretty much better than the Blade Master right here, simply because of better items and whatnot. But he can only do so much damage. He can constantly link himself. There's only 1 or 2 Dryads, so he can constantly link, and generally the Dryads won't have enough mana to dispel, so we just kept him linked and just chopped down the Wisps until he could get out. And yeah, he's going to lose the Demolisher most likely, but, no big deal. The Blade Master's still getting slowed down by the Dryad, and I believe it's still linked, because it's only taking 7 damage, but whatever. No, it's not linked. Take it back, 7 damage is about right. No, it is, because there's some peons. Okay, taking it back once more. At this point, he kind of sees that his Demon Hunter is super low. The Blade Master's too high of level. I don't know if he really should have left, because you could have come back and, kept the macroing off his expansion, but, whatever. Blade Master chops in the Demon Hunter, and that's a good game. As for what he could have done, Grubby played it pretty much about right. When your opponent gets a lot of Dryads, you really have to go for Demolishers. Their damage output is very good, of course. Their area of effect is really crappy. They're not nearly as good as frag shard mortars or even meat wagons, especially not as good as glaive throws with warp blades, who can't miss, by the way. But demolishers simply do very good damage, and at most levels of play, your opponent's simply not going to be able to dodge every salvo of demolishers. So it's not that big of a deal that their attacks are technically dodgeable, because they're probably not going to be actually dodged. So not a huge problem. Secondly, they're good at sieging down buildings and whatnot. I mean, another point is simply the fact that there's a critical mass to melee units, and I've said this in a lot of different audios. You can have too many melee units. You can, because at some point there's just not enough targets to go around, and you have to speed score just to get them in position. And then if you're against Dryads, they'll just dispel it anyway. So screw you. And there's not a lot you can do about that. You just kind of have to work it out. But really, this matchup was completely about the Blade Master, because guess what? Dryads can't kill a Blade Master, especially not one that's Spirit Linked. And if you don't have an Orb of Venom, you really can't kill the Blade Master. It's just pure and simple. I mean, one of the reasons that a Blade Master is so good against Night Elf, or I mean, just in general, is that they can engage and disengage and engage and disengage from battle. They can kill something, run back, kill something, run back, and if they're getting focused, you can run away. But if you're getting focused, and that focus includes an Orb of Venom, even if you're running away, you're still taking that 9 DPS for, 7 seconds? And yeah, it'll get Spirit Linked or whatever, and it'll lose part of that, but that damage output is not negated by Hero Resist. No poison in the game is negated by any kind of immunity. Now, poison lasts less time. Both Wyvern and Dryad poison lasts 1 second on heroes instead of, I believe it's 3 for Dryads and 25 seconds for Wyvern. But the Orb of Venom lasts full time on heroes. And so if a Blade Master is trying to be a douche and go in and out, when he runs away after getting hit by the orb, he's still going to lose 40 hit points. And the other 40 damage is going to go to the rest of the army, and it's going to get split up and be 5 damage to 8 units, big freaking deal. But that's every time. You know, that adds up rather quickly. Yeah, you know, he can chain heal stuff away and he can healing scroll, but it's extra damage you're getting. And it's pretty much consistent damage. And what's also, you know, fun about this is because of how much the Orc army will move and how many targets your Demon Hunter will hit, you'll end up poisoning a good 6 targets at a time. And by the time you're poisoning that many units, you're basically getting 9 DPS on everything, because it's all getting split amongst everything and evening out to everything taking pretty significant damage. And it ends up working out pretty well for you, you know. Spirit Link, you know, is good, but Chain Heal only hits a certain number of targets. It's like 3, 5, 7 or something like that. And Orc armies, especially large ones, that you're usually facing when you have an Orb of Venom, and especially in this kind of game where you've got, you know, an expansion for each player, yeah, it works pretty well. You end up dealing damage to more units than are getting healed, and it works out quite well. So, Winners obviously could have done better by upgrading, by getting tier 3 and getting bears or an orb, well, and an orb. Grubby could have, I think Grubby really played that in general better than Winners did. Winners kind of picked a strategy and just kept hammering it in until it stopped working. And if he had simply teched at the point where he killed the expansion and could have just sat around, it would have worked out for him. The real point you have to really think about in this game, though, was Grubby's Creepjack, because Grubby lost his expansion, had a worse army, had lost his Shadow Hunter. It was in a bad spot, and the only way to come back in was to Creepjack. And think about that, guys. When you're losing, the only way really to get back in is to Creepjack, because if your army's not good enough, you need to borrow someone else's army. So borrow the army that comes with the map, and if you can fight 2v1 that way, you might be able to win. Now, if you have a bunch of ghouls against a bunch of griffins and he's just creeping at green camps, no, it's not going to help. But in that kind of situation, where he's already taken damage, where, you know, you've stolen half the creeps in the first place and your Blade Master is high level, and especially it's about positioning. I mean, the game was won and lost on positioning. The Demon Hunter getting in front and getting hexed and ensnared and killed. The Dryads being in the back as he got creepjacked. Simply put, positioning ended up winning the game. That's all I really have to say for this. I feel I addressed the game pretty well, so I hope to hear your comments. Please leave me some, and I'll see you guys next time.